Okay, so now I'm joined by Packz. How's it going, man?
It's all good, man. I'm enjoying EGX right now. It's all good, yep.
You got high hopes this weekend for the tournament?
Yeah, I actually have to. If I place like top 3, I'm pretty much guaranteed in.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get that top 3 spot minimum at least.
Cool. Okay, so last weekend you got second Street Grand battle in France, beating Luffy in losers final, but losing to Problem X in grand final. What did you learn from this defeat?
That when you play someone that you play all the time, it doesn't matter what form you're in, because you always play each other. It's kind of like you guys have like a pattern and a mind game before the game's even started. So even though I was in good form, because it was Problem X, it's like we always play each other, so it could have gone either way. So.
Do you feel like the games go differently when you're in that kind of like a grand final situation rather than if you were just playing him in casuals and like a 1st to 5?
Problem's definitely a lot more difficult to beat in tournament because he plays a lot more. In casuals, you tend to try stuff out. Yeah. So you're not afraid to do like a wake up sweep and stuff like that.
Nothing on the
line. Yeah, exactly. But in tournament, he's a lot more safe and he goes for those kind of options more. I'm still willing to do a lot more risky things in tournament. So I'm not too scared to do it, but because he's a little more safe, it might not work this time in the same situation. Like we might have a mind game in this situation and it won't work now and he'll block and then that round might be over. So it's, in tournament, he's definitely a lot more difficult to beat, but yeah.
Given the fact that he's got like a little bit more kind of like international experience and probably more like grand final kind of experience, like plays to his advantage when you play him in that kind of a situation?
Oh yeah, 100%. Experience just in general in anything is just better than lack of experience. So because he's been in a situation multiple times, he's definitely going to have the upper hand. And I'm still waiting to get that one win before I can. Like the one win will help me just break through that next barrier, and then I can go to like have other goals. So
it still must be a bit of a confidence boost that you did manage to beat Luffy in the losers final as well, because that was like a high stakes situation, like getting to grand finals. How did you feel about how that particular match went?
Me and Luffy go quite back and forth in this game, so it's not like I was surprised about it. But I haven't actually faced Luffy in tournament for quite a while, but. This season, I've actually beaten Luffy more than he's beaten me. So yeah, so that's not. I wasn't particularly surprised about that. What I was more surprised about is how I beat Gamer B. So that was quite solid for me. So I was more happy with that win than the Luffy win because I'm not expected to beat Luffy. I kind of expect to go back and forth with him. But Gamer B, I'm not like I don't expect to beat him because every time he's come over, I've at least beaten him once. But he's a strong player.
It's interesting that we've gone from like Gamer B kind of like winning EGX. And now he couldn't even get top 4, like in France in a ranking.
For that, it's like the nature of the game is quite volatile. But the thing is, even though Game B hasn't won any tournaments, he's still got like nearly 600 points. Yeah. And he will place randomly. He'll just randomly place really high in another tournament, and he'll get in Capcom Cup. He's just that kind of player. He probably won't not be in. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't expect anything less from him. It's just that some players break out a little later, season different, game changes. Some players have like a boost, a skill boost, like end of the year, start of the year, stuff like that. So,
do you think like the level of the game now, like even on an international level, is more even than it was in season 1?
I feel like the Japanese have definitely got higher again. So I thought it was like everyone was saying like America was the strongest. Yeah. I didn't actually think that ever, to be honest. I thought it was just like two players. Literally Knuckle doing Punk. But the Japanese, wherever they go, they're always like majority top 8 usually. Sometimes there's occasional tournament, but majority is usually the Japanese. Like for example, in the table, the global rankings, the majority is Japanese. So it shows that they're still the top of the top. Basically.
I think a lot of people would definitely agree with you on that one. Do you feel more pressure to perform well, considering how strong everyone thinks Karen is in this game?
No, not really. I just like the fact that she's strong just helps me. It's kind of less pressure because I know she's a good character, so it's kind of less pressure because I know I can get the job done better than other characters can. I don't have to work less hard than, for example, Infiltration playing Jury. Yeah. So it doesn't put pressure on me to perform well. It's that kind of less pressure because she is good and I know I can do well, especially because you've got people like Justin and Punk who have won already, which means the character can definitely win. So it's kind of less pressure for me, and not more.
You got any others to like? We got Margot here this weekend. Is he still playing Karen?
Yes.
Okay, so you're like gunning to maybe get like best like Karen placing at EGX?
I don't care about that. I'm just trying to get top 3. If I get higher than Margot, I'm very happy. Obviously, I want to win the tournament, but top 3 is the main goal, and then the tournament would be like the top goal. But as long as because Margot's in a position to be, he's above me as well. Yeah. So if I get higher than Margot, it's a bonus for me as well, but I need to get like considerably.
Because he's currently like 31st on the leaderboard at the moment, isn't he? So he's clinging on for dear life for that qualification spot. So the points are more important right now than any kind of like accolade or bragging rights.
Yeah.
Cool. So the top 3 European players on the CPT leaderboard right now are all full-time pro players. Do you think we've reached a point where you have to go full-time to consistently place high in Street Fighter 5 tournaments? Like literally like not having a job and like literally Street Fighter 5 is your full-time profession?
If in terms of placing, for example, like getting into Capcom Pro Tour, I think full-time is a lot easier because you have nothing holding you back. So you can go to all these tournaments. You can go to like America midweek and stay there and train until the weekend for that tournament without having to take holiday or something or from work. So I think full-time helps for that reason. But in terms of placing, I don't think so, because if you see players like Infectious, he's not full-time, he's got uni and things like that. But when he comes to tournaments, he can still place and win tournaments. And he's won like at least 3 tournaments, I think, this year. And he's not full-time, so your skill level won't go down. You definitely have to put time into the game, though. He definitely plays the game. Yeah. But in terms of being full-time and having no commitments other than gaming, I don't think so. That doesn't determine your skill level.
Okay, interesting. What does it take to win with Karen?
Karen, as much as people like to say, you have to have good awareness, because most people know her weak points, her anti-airs. Even though she has a DP, the DP can still whiff and things like that, so you have to have good awareness of your spacing. She has a 1-frame anti-air with a stand heavy punch, and a very specific anti-air with a crouch heavy punch. So when you're playing on the ground, which is the strongest point, you can't just be whiffing heavy normals and moves with a lot of recovery, because if they do jump, then you're going to get jumped in on. So you have to have good awareness in those kind of things. And then she can be ready and punish like neutral jump from full screen. So if you're ready with the EX 10 codes and stuff, you can punish that. So I think the #1 thing to have when you're playing Karen is awareness.
Awareness?
Yeah, awareness. So if you're looking for neutral jumps, you have to have awareness of the neutral jump, be ready for that punish. If you're looking for anti-airs, you have to be ready with a 1-frame punish or the DP. You have to know the spacing so that the DP don't whiff, things like that.
So the anti-air, like standing heavy punch of Karen, that's 1 frame?
It only hits in the air for 1 frame. Okay. It hits on the ground for the next 3. So you have
only active for 1 frame, isn't it? Wow.
So okay. Perfectly, yeah.
I'm learning. I did not know that. So like every time I see someone like land that as an anti-air, they've worked. There's training gone into landing that every time.
It's not easy, especially because you're both moving as well. So it's not easy.
Yeah. Cool. What are your hopes for Street Fighter 5 in 2018?
More defensive options. So I would like. I'm not sure if it's happening or whatever, but I'd like if everyone had like 2 V reversals. And all V reversals were the same speed as like Chun-Li's, so that if I do a V reversal, it gets you off. There's no like you can block my V reversal. I'm doing it to get you off. That's what
even if you V reversal a light button, you want to have like something.
A light button's alright, because that means you're baiting it with a light button. But you shouldn't be able to do like a medium or a heavy. For example, Mika can do a heavy, Karen can do like a medium punch and still block. I don't think that's a good design. So I think if everyone has a fast V reversal and an escape V reversal like Vega, you can choose between options and then everyone can get out and everyone can stop pressure. I think that would be good. And 2 V skills and two V triggers probably.
And that's the kind of like one that been like the rumor mill's been going around, people thinking there's going to be like more like V triggers and stuff like that. You think?
Yeah, 2 V skills and 2 V triggers would be good. I have a lot more. Like, but
I'm sure the Wishlist goes all the way like down to the ground, but yeah.
But mainly just those things for defensive options and things like that. So maybe have a defensive V skill and a defensive V trigger.
Say if Karen was to get like a second like V trigger, how can you imagine that might be?
I actually haven't thought about what it would. No, I haven't thought about what it could be, because her V trigger's pretty good already. Yeah, exactly. She doesn't really need it, like, but when she gets it, she just gets an extra way to safely hit confirm. So she doesn't. I don't know what it'd be like.
Yeah, we're kind of like a situation where a Karen plays pretty and thought about it that much, or if you're a Fang player, maybe you think like, yeah, there's like hundreds of things I would like to have instead. But yeah,
definitely think about it. Karen doesn't actually need her V trigger now. It's just a bonus on a hit confirm. So I'm not actually sure what it could be. But if it's anything, it'd probably be OP anyway. It'd probably be overpowered, like, because she's already got a pretty good V trigger that she doesn't need.
What about outside of like the V system? And what about in terms of like specials and normals and stuff? Are there any kind of like wish list there? Something like maybe improve it slightly or make it more even with the other characters?
I would just like her crouch and light kick to be more usable. Okay. So if it was maybe, I don't know, +1 or +2 on block or something, so that you can actually use a crouch light kick. Because right now you can't really, that doesn't really get used. So if you can maybe combo from a crouch light kick, that'd be right. But other than that, she's like Fei Long from Street Fighter 4, where he just doesn't ever get nerfed to oblivion. So I feel like she'll always be good because you can't really nerf neutral.
No, exactly. She's a footsies character, and if you're strong in that, you're always going to find a way to win.
Yeah, you'd have to change hitboxes and hurtboxes to really nerf her. So anything you give her is just going to make her stronger. Okay. But you can take things away, like make things minus and stuff, but you can't really nerf her neutral.
So as she is right now, she's a complete character.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Do you still have a pocket Rashid?
I do. I haven't really worked on it. I mainly worked on Rashid for Problems Birdie, but other birdies I've beat. Every other birdie I've played, I've beat with Karen, and I can beat with Karen. Every birdie. I played the Korean birdies as well. Yep. The only other birdie I didn't beat was Daikoku from Japan. He bodied me. But every other birdie.
When you picked Rashid? Or?
No, I played him in casuals in DreamHack.
Right, okay.
But he beat me. I was like, I'm definitely playing Rashid against you. But I don't actually think I need to switch to Rashid for birdie anymore. So I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to play Karen.
Just going to work on that matchup.
Yeah, and if it becomes unbearable like across the board with all birdies, then I'll work on Rashid. But for now, I'm sticking with Karen.
Cool. So you're looking to make Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite your secondary game at the moment. What advice would you give to Street Fighter V players who are thinking about transitioning to Marvel?
Transitioning as in leaving Street Fighter V or just playing both? Well, I'd say play a character with 8-way dashes, so you can get used to like just Marvel movement, because that's just one of the main things. Yeah. Usually it takes a really good player to play characters with no dashes. It takes a really solid player. So play a character with 8-way dashes just to get used to Marvel, like the movement and things like that, and how to open people up. Yeah. And then learn like BMBs with each character, and then both characters like a team BMB. Yeah. And then commit to getting bodied in matches to learn how to block and learn how to hit confirm those BMB, because you can do combos in training mode in Marvel, but you'll mess up the combo as soon as you get the hit in game, because you're not used to actually hitting them. Yeah. They're all over the place. So then commit to learning to block in game and hit confirm in game, and then start learning how to move really, really well, and then implementing that.
It definitely feels like Marvel may be one of those kind of like games where you'd like to be the best of the best. The amount of like knowledge you're going to have will be even more than like a game like Street Fighter V. Just the amount of like stuff to defend against and learn the matchups.
Yeah, with Marvel it's really hard as well, because you might get hit by something in a game. You have to watch the setup back, and then like do the setup in training mode. That's the exact same setup they done to try and figure out. Yeah. Otherwise, if you can't do that setup in training mode, you're never going to figure out how to block it if it comes again. So you have to learn how to do every character's setup, or whatever skank you got hit by. You have to learn to do that in training mode to try and block it, or try and find a counter. Or you have to be extremely creative and on the fly this will work anyway. I'm going to do this, it will work. So you have to be really creative. And there's a lot of random hits in Marvel. Random heavy punch hits them while they're dashing, then you have to be able to convert off that. So it's a lot. Marvel's even more awareness than Street Fighter V, I believe. So, yeah.
I mean, do you think there's going to be a promising future for the Marvel scene in Europe?
I hope so, because what happened with Marvel 3 is the same thing. There's a big boom at the start, everyone playing, and then it kind of dies down when people can't, they don't like the cheapness. They don't like just getting hit by things. They don't know when to punish, when to push block, stuff like that. And then they just give up. But I'm hoping that it stays as big as it is. And hopefully if you get like Street Fighter players are going to destroy Marvel players' heads, if we keep that going, the Marvel guys aren't going to like it, and hopefully when the Street Fighter players see that they can actually win, or if they do win anything, then it'll keep it a bit like...
I mean, even though it is kind of like a Marvel game, it still feels like it has its own identity, and it is somewhat different from the ones that came before it. So like, it still feels like Marvel fundamentals will get you, like, will help you in the game, but it's still at the same time, it's a different game, so it's a good time to be coming in.
Yeah, it's definitely a different game, but because it's a Marvel game and a versus game, if you've played a Marvel game before, you've got the advantage. There's no way that you have not played a Marvel game, you're coming into Marvel and beating someone who's playing a Marvel game. It's not happening. 100% not happening. Like, it's not going to happen. Impossible.
What do you think is going to happen at the EU regional finals next weekend?
For both Marvel and Street Fighter, or just Street Fighter?
Just Street Fighter.
Well, I'm hoping if I don't do as well here, even if I do well here, I'm hoping I could win that, because that just means you're in. You're solidly in. And there's a lot of money on the line. And because it's all European players, we've all played each other, we've all beat each other before. Like, because everyone knows each other, it's like it could go either way with everyone. So I'm hoping I can do well there. I think I have Fen on first game.
Oh wow, okay, so a tricky one first match.
I'm pretty confident.
It's kind of like, I kind of wish almost like Daigo could come back and defend his crown as EU champion.
I don't, and I'm happy he can't come back, because I got bodied by Daigo, so no. I'm happy he can't.
And the final question, who loves anime more, Logan Sama or the international cinema section at HMV?
Listen, Logan does not hate anime. He actually loves it. He has all the references. Logan has every reference. You can mention a random anime back in a prison schoolgirl or something, and he will have the references to the anime. So he loves anime.
I can see the glint in his eye whenever you mention it. Even in the
Japanese, he loves anime.
He knows.
Yeah, he knows it. He knows all the references. He knows all the names. He knows like episodes and characters. He's just faking it. It's a fake. He knows the references, and he loves anime. You heard it here. He loves anime.
I reckon him and Juna have like a secret like WhatsApp group chat called like Anime Lovers or something like that.
Definitely, and Z as well. They all have.
Well, thanks very much for talking to me, man, and good luck with the rest of the tournament. Take it easy, guys.